Double Daggers is what I like to consider a near-perfect game, and that's saying something even though I've only put in less than 2 hours in it. When I decided to buy Double Daggers, it actually wasn't by itself, it was in a Humble Bundle. I think it was Humble Bundle Jumbo 13 or something like that, I don't know all the numbers, but all I remember is that I paid around average or above average, and I got all the games in it. So keep that in mind as I talk about my feelings in this game. Double Daggers is a survival-based shooter that kind of feels like one of those old-school arena shooters that you played back in the 90s, like Unreal Tournament, Quake, etc. Just like those old-school arena games, you could circle strafe, bunny hop, rocket jump, etc. I can say without hesitation, this game perfectly replicates that old 90s feeling. Everything about this engine was custom-made, which is what allows this old-school feeling to appear from the controls themselves to how everything looks on screen. Because of this custom-made engine, the audio engineering is superb. Using either the HDR 3D positional audio or their HRTF binaural audio, which you're going to have to use headphones for by the way, the game sounds amazing and you can figure out where the enemies are coming from no matter where they are. It's just beautiful. But I haven't really explained the core loop of this game. Your goal for this game is survival. Try and last as long as you can. That's about it. The longer you survive, the more varied enemies come after you. It's insane. I've personally only seen 5 or 6 myself, and there's 13 in total, and I don't even want to know what those are like. When you first spawn in, you grab your dagger. This allows you to have 2 different types of shooting mechanics. One is continuous stream, almost like a machine gun or assault rifle of sorts, and then another one is kind of like a shotgun blast, and this is what you use if you want to rocket jump. As you defeat certain enemies and spawn points, you get demonic crystals, which help power up your daggers. The more crystals you get, the more efficiently you can kill enemies. As time goes on, you can get homing daggers, but I assume you need a high number of crystals to get them, as I haven't ran into them yet. What I should do, and what I recommend you should do, is watch one of the built-in replays inside the game to try and figure out when you can get all this stuff. And I bring up the replays for a good reason. Every time you die, you get to see your exact stats and where you stack on the Steam leaderboard. Everybody who has played the game has been registered to the leaderboard, along with all your friends if they've played as well. You can watch all the replays from people above you, below you, and of course your friends as well, and you can see how they did it. You can even see some of the top plays that have gone on for minutes on end, and I know that might sound a little small to you, but when I can barely last a minute on average, it's pretty intense how these guys can last for like at least 5. I don't know the exact time for the world record, so I'll just edit that in front of your faces right now. Almost any system can run this game at its max frame rate of about 300. I don't know if you can mod this to be higher, and I'm honestly afraid to try and do that because I might break the engine. But as far as fluidity goes, it's almost unmatched to any other game I've played so far. Movement in this game is extremely fluid. Circle strafing, bunny hopping, etc. All those things that I mentioned earlier are the more high level things you can master, but just running around feels extremely nice. For beginner level players, you might not know that all these things exist, but once you do find out you can do these things, you feel like you can improve so much more. Just like the core loop of this game is to increase your time, one of the things you can do as well is trying to increase how fluid you are when you're moving around the map so you can get to more places efficiently. I myself have barely even begun to grasp how to do most of this, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Outside of trying to gib your friends in the battlefield, anybody who's played one of those old school shooters will feel right at home with all the mechanics that are in place for this game. And if you're into those kind of games, absolutely jump on this. For $5, it's not that steep of a price for a game, but for the amount of content that you're getting and the amount of replayability, because this game is replayable to the end. You might get frustrated, but you'll always come back for more. It's like an addiction. If you're not into beating your own score, then I'd definitely stay away from this. But if you're into like trying to one-up yourself or your friends, it's great. There's not much else for me to say about the game that doesn't have to involve all the enemies that I haven't seen yet. You feel powerful whenever you kill somebody, but you also feel helpless as you try to run away from the hordes of enemies that are constantly trying to kill you. While not really an homage to old school shooters, it takes a lot from what they brought to the table back in the day, and it builds upon it in such a great way that I honestly don't think anybody would have seen coming. It mixes that fast-paced fluidity of those old games with the horde modes that we kind of have today and makes it into something where you're never stopping, you're always on the move. You want to find the next spawn to kill or the next thing to like make all the crystals drop from. It's great. The game is so full of energy, and the demonic tone makes you scared every time something comes up in your face. I squeal like a little girl, and I'm not afraid to admit that. If you're not into the edgy teen notebook art of this game, or just the arena shooter style physics and jumping around and shooting that it provides, or the one-upmanship of the leaderboards and how the game loop works, you're not going to enjoy this game. but if you're a real big fan of shooters and you like wanting to get better, this is definitely the game for you. I would definitely recommend it, especially at $5. I think this is a really great deal, and I honestly believe that this is a game that people will at least play for at least a week straight. You will improve once you start finding out all the little quirks in the game, and you will get at least 5 hours out of this game, definitely. I need to get 5 hours out of this game, and I will, eventually. For $5, this is an absolute steal of a game for the amount of replayability and content you're getting. But that's what I think. Tell me down in the comments below if you guys have played this game, your thoughts and feelings, or if you just don't care about this game at all. Leave a like if you like this video, dislike the video if you dislike it, hit that face over on the side to subscribe, and check out one of these 2 videos. One of them is something I'll recommend to you, and another one is something YouTube will recommend to you. Anyways, my name is gregandcin. I'm out.